The doctor just stood there with a look on his face that, if I had to place a word to it, would probably be bewildered. Yeah, bewildered seems to fit. Well, yes, the doctor replied. Well, I hope you can keep that sunny disposition as things move forward. I'm not going to lie to you. You have a very hard road ahead. Things are going to be challenging. Physically, we've done all that we can do, and you don't really require any more treatment. So, within the next day or so, we'll be releasing you. You'll have to have somebody drive you home, of course. And the nurses will instruct you as to how to care for your injuries. But physically, other than the loss of motility and feeling, you should be fine. But if I could say one thing before I go, I'm not sure what I was expecting when I came here to meet you. But I truly do hope that you're as admirable as you seem. If anything, I wish the world had more people like you in it. And I hope you keep that joy of yours. I sincerely do. You can have a nice day, the doctor said, giving us a nod and exiting calmly. I spent the next few hours talking with my mom and dad. It had been a few weeks since I talked to them, so of course they had a lot to say. My dad and me mostly exchanging jokes, and my mom trying to catch up on how my life has been, how I was doing at work, the usual sort of things that we do when we want to catch up. But my mom and my dad eventually left, finding of their way home, and I did receive a call from my friends Vicky and Ned. I was just relaxing in my room, flipping through the channels as best I could. Once again, moving my hands was both painful and difficult, but I still had some movement, and thankfully flipping the channels was not beyond my capacity. And just as my mom and dad said, I had basically become a phenomenon. All the channels were filled with news stations talking about the event, breaking it down scientifically. Some people were talking about me not actually being a hero, more of an idiot, thinking he could hold up an entire bus by himself. But then they actually started breaking down the movement of the bus based on the video and using a lot of scientific jargon. According to the information they were presenting, despite the fact that I really didn't feel like I was having any sort of effect, they ran all the numbers and figures, and apparently I bought that bus approximately a minute and a half. 1.5 minutes of extra time before it went over. Just enough time for a bunch of kids to get off. I was sitting there watching the news report when Ned and Vicky called. I heard the phone ring and, of course, tried to reach over and pick the phone up, which in and of itself had become a very difficult task. But I eventually got hold of the phone and held it to my ear as best I could. I had to use more of my shoulder than my hands to hold it in place. "Dude, are you there?" my friend Ned's voice called. "Yeah, I'm here, Ned." "Dude, you are bananas! A bus, man?" he shouted into the phone. "Like, dude, you are all over the news. Everywhere. It's crazy, man. Everybody calling you the hero of New Star City. It's epic. Listen, man, you have to use this to your advantage. I'm telling you, women are going to be falling over themselves. You, me, and the club. We're going. You just became a rock star, and trust me, buddy, it's going to work out for you. You're going to have to get a second phone for all the numbers. Really, man. And I'm not going to say that I'm not a little happy about it myself. After all, I think I'll be picking a few of the stragglers. Being friends with a rock star has its advantages." "Dude, really?" I replied. "I'm in the hospital, with extremely serious injuries, and you're thinking about how it's gonna get you a date. Well, not just me, dude. You too, Ned replied. And trust me, it is going to be awesome. This is your 15 minutes of fame, man. You've got to use it. Oh, would you shut up, Ned? I heard Vicky's voice announce. You'd be lucky to get anything out of it. Remember, I saw your last girlfriend. The only person I've ever met who honestly looked better in a Chewbacca costume than out of one. If anybody's likely to get a date from being his friend, it's definitely gonna be me. But that's really besides the point. I actually don't need a superstar friend to get a date. Which brings me around to the point that really matters. How are you doing, Kevin? I heard your arms were pretty messed up, Vicky asked, sounding fairly concerned. Yeah, according to the doctors, I've lost about 70% of motility and feeling in them, and it's unlikely to come back. So, that sucks, like a big one. Other than that, I suppose I'm doing fine. I'm getting a bit sick of Jell-O, but other than that, fairly good. Well, don't worry about your arms too much. I think I might have some things that could help. I'll give my brother a call and see what he can look up for helping serious injuries, Vicky said, which brought to mind her brother and his reputation. While Vicky was in charge of managing her psychic parlor/magic shop, her brother had a different reputation. He had actually become very well known for dealing with matters in the occult. Just super weird stuff. Cults and monsters, hauntings. People basically thought he was crazy. And honestly, I'm not much different from the crowd in that matter. I mean, trying to talk to the guy is a little disconcerting in and of itself. Like, it's really intimidating, for a number of reasons. First of which, the guy is built of iron. Not literally. I mean, this guy is ripped. I have no idea what kind of vitamins he's on, but I wish I had them. And then there's the massive amount of tattoos he has. All of these crazy occult nature tattoos. But according to him, none of them are fashion so much as function. Basically, he says they're magic. That he needs them for work. And trust me, you should hear some of the stories he tells. Last month, he told me a story about hunting a werewolf. And the scariest thing about his stories is that regardless of how ridiculous they sound, there are always elements of truth that just creep me out. For example, his little werewolf story happened to involve some details about a series of disappearances in Bell City, where the people were found brutally mangled. And I do mean brutally. And that was definitely not a story. I looked it up. I don't know if there's any truth to the werewolf nonsense, but the things he deals with, I'm really not sure what to make of any of it, other than being downright scared of the guy. But if nothing else, man, does he have an awesome car. I'm talking just beast. All classic muscle, cherry red, full leather interior, and an engine that sounds like two dragons fighting. I swear that thing could break glass if it revved up to full. Ugh, I want one. If I'm jealous of nothing else, it's that guy's car. No, Vicky, I think I'm okay on that, I replied, not wanting to let on my, little bit of fear when it came to her brother, and the business he tends to be involved in. But the cops never seem to have any sort of evidence connecting him to these things. And on numerous occasions, he was actually in the city, and sometimes even with me when these events occurred. So it can't be him that's actually doing it. Or at least that's how I comfort myself. but conversations with him usually still tend to creep me out.